Imperfection gives room for our bodies to naturally adjust. When you optimize everything externally, your body's natural adjusting ability may atrophy. Why Japanese sleep without tracking and live 10 years longer? That's something I'm going to talk about today, so stick around. Hi, my name is Tatami, a 63-year-old biohacker based on Japanese natural health and the author of Live Wiser, Not Smarter. Now, one thing I have done consistently throughout my life is to sleep well. I made sure that I always sleep for 8 hours. It was something that was so important for me. I really wanted to sleep. I prioritized my sleep over anything else. It wasn't because I knew about the benefit of sleeping, just sleeping was important to me. I didn't want to sacrifice my sleep for anything else. And I haven't used any of those gadgets, and I still don't use them. The only thing I do is this, which I'll talk about later. So what about centenarians in Kyoto, whose vascular age is 10 years younger than that of the national average? And in Kyoto, there are 3 times as many centenarians as the national average. And compared to the US national average, they're about 9 times more. And they don't use any of those gadgets either. They sleep naturally, just like regular Japanese people. They sleep on a futon, which is a typical Japanese way of sleeping. So today, I'd like to share with you another Japanese way of living based on shizen, that is sleeping. So shizen and sleep and high-tech sleep optimization can be counterintuitive. So first, I'll share with you how Japanese centenarians sleep, and then the benefit of sleeping on a futon on a tatami floor, and how to align sleep with a circadian rhythm, how to enhance sleep with Natto, and why high-tech sleep optimization is counterintuitive, and finally, the ancient Japanese martial arts sleep method, which was the method that I was using earlier in the picture. So please watch the video until the end. For those of you who just discovered this video today, this is the Ikigai diet channel, which is about how to increase health span for people over 50 or 60. I am the author of 4 books. I usually cover things like diet, exercise, mindset, and anything else that is related to increasing health span. So if you're over 50 or 60 and interested in health span extension, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Okay, how Japanese centenarians sleep. They practice hayane hayaoki, which means early to bed, early to rise. I shared with you this concept in another video called Top 5 Health Habits by the Japanese Joe Rogan. So Atsuhiko Nakata is considered to be the Japanese Joe Rogan. Among his top 5 health habits, number 1 was hayane hayaoki. So early to bed, early to rise. And that is what the Kyotango centenarians practice. So they get up early and they usually work in their field. Therefore, they do morning sunlight exposure, which can align yourself with a circadian rhythm. And they have a bath at night, just like regular Japanese people do. So they have heat exposure at night, which is also good to align yourself with a circadian rhythm. So generally speaking, they live according to the circadian rhythm. And they sleep on a futon on a tatami. That brings to the next topic. So the benefits of sleeping on a futon on a tatami floor. Superior spinal alignment and support. The problem with soft mattresses. A very soft mattress allows the heaviest parts of your body to sink in too deeply. This can cause the spine to curve out of its natural alignment, leading to back pain, stiffness, and poor posture over time. The Futon Tatami advantage. The combination provides a firm, even surface. This firmness keeps the spine in a straight, neutral position, like standing upright, which is ideal for reducing morning stiffness and chronic back pain. It forces your body to rely on its own alignment rather than being held by form. Improved airflow and moisture control. Tatami's breathability. Tatami mats made of woven rush grass are naturally breathable. They allow air to circulate between the futon and the floor. Moisture management. The body sweats significantly during sleep. The tatami helps wick away moisture from the futon, preventing mold, dust, mites, and excessive heat buildup. This keeps the sleeping environment cleaner and cooler. Muscle and posture benefit. Core engagement. Sleeping on a firm surface can certainly encourage your core and back muscles to work slightly harder to maintain good posture throughout the night, similar to mild exercise. Flexibility. The routine of laying out the futon and packing it away each day involves movement, aligning with the blue zone concept of consistent low-level physical activity, moving with shizen. So, moving with shizen. Basically, centenarians live according to the circadian rhythm. They live according to the natural rhythm. And it is critical to optimize your sleep. And I've talked about that before. So let's review it. So how to align sleep with a circadian rhythm? What can you do specifically to align yourself with a circadian rhythm? So you want to be sleeping between 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. This is the precious hours you want to be sleeping to align yourself with a circadian rhythm. And usually 8 hours is considered to be optimal. I mean, actually 7 hours, but you can make sure that you are sleeping for 7 hours if you sleep for 8 hours because, you don't fall asleep right away. Therefore, optimal sleeping hours would be 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., or 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Those schedules cover this precious period of 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. and have the morning sunlight exposure within the first hour of waking up. Therefore, it is a good idea to exercise outdoor in the morning. And take a cold shower in the morning. And don't eat for 1 hour after waking up. Don't drink coffee for the first 60 to 90 minutes of the morning. And don't use digital devices 1 hour after bed. Avoid caffeine 8 to 10 hours before bed, and evening sunlight exposure if you can. And don't eat for 3 hours before going to bed, and no alcohol. Have a hot bath or sauna at night. Don't use digital devices 1 hour before bed. And spend the last hour in dim light. And turn all lights off when you sleep. Those are the measures you can take to align yourself with a circadian rhythm to optimize your sleep. Okay, so what about the centenarians in Kyotango? Do they practice all of them? Probably not all of them, but probably they're covering half of them. So basically, they live according to the circadian rhythm. But I practice all of them. I mean, mostly. I don't do evening light exposure, for example, and then not every single day for other things too. Like, for example, alcohol. I usually don't drink during the week, but I do drink on the weekend. So not everything, but most measures. And the next thing I do is very important. So that is about natto. So how to enhance sleep with natto. Got microbial changes during sleep. So I recommend that you eat natto for dinner. Now, this is because of natto kinase, the enzyme in natto. So, natto kinase dissolves blood clots, which helps maintain good blood vessel structure, improves blood flow, and lowers the risk of heart disease. Blood clotting often occurs at night during your sleep. And natto kinase works 10 to 12 hours following consumption. So if you eat natto for dinner, you can make sure that natto kinase works during your sleep. But there's another reason that I recommend that you eat natto for dinner. That is for natto bacteria. Well, I usually talk about this in the context of breakfast. Yeah, I do recommend eating natto for breakfast because of the natto bacteria's benefit, because you just come out of a long fast. You come out of a long absence from food. By consuming natto bacteria and sending it to your gut, you can optimize your gut health. You can kind of support the composition of your gut microbiota. But the same thing can be true about dinner, because this is the last meal. So breakfast is the first meal after the long absence, and dinner is the last meal before the long absence. Now, this is critical because when you're sleeping and fasting, your gut microbes shift their activity to repair, maintenance, and migration. This is when the diversity and composition of the microbiome undergo the most profound changes. The lack of incoming food allows them to perform tasks related to the gut lining and immune system that they can't do while actively digesting. That means several things. The first thing is this, don't eat for 3 hours before going to bed is important. So you want to eat dinner early so that you can prepare for this process during your sleep. So you want to be fasted. You want to be in a fasted state as much as possible while you're sleeping. But if you eat right before sleeping, then you won't be in a fasted state until much later. And then the same thing about breakfast, like don't eat for 1 hour after waking up. So if you do that, so 3 hours, and then you sleep for 8 hours, and then 1 hour, that means 12 hours. So you have a 12 hours of fasting, and that is critical. But ideally 14 hours. So that's what I practice. But somewhere between 12 hours to 14 hours is okay. And then what you need to eat. So first, prebiotics, which becomes a food for beneficial gut bacteria. So what are prebiotics? They are fermentable fiber, oligosaccharide, and resistant starch. You can just remember fiber. Try to eat a lot of fiber. That is enough. And then probiotics, the fermented food. So probiotics are the beneficial bacteria themselves, but the ones you intake from the mouth support the resident beneficial gut bacteria. So things like miso, natto, tsukemono are all good. In Japan, a lot of people have a miso soup at night, so they do consume miso, and some people eat tsukemono too. So yeah, they do consume some fermented food for dinner, and usually natto is for breakfast. But I do recommend eating natto for both breakfast and dinner, and natto is especially critical among the fermented food because natto bacteria support other beneficial bacteria such as bifidobacteria and lactic acid bacteria, and to a certain extent butyrate producing bacteria. So definitely you want to eat natto for both breakfast and dinner to optimize your sleep and the composition of the gut microbiome. Okay, the next topic. Why high-tech sleep optimization is counterintuitive? Well, they do probably optimize your sleep. So I'm sure if you use all of them, you can optimize your sleep. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really used them. So I don't know much about the pros and cons of those devices. So I wouldn't say they are bad, but are they necessary? I mean, all those measures we have covered so far put you in the shizen state. Isn't that sufficient? Do we need to do more? Now remember, I have talked about Hara Hachibunme, which usually means stop eating when you are 80% full. But it also means stop when it is 80% optimal. Don't be greedy. Because quite often, wanting to make everything optimal, making everything perfect, come from your greed of like never stopping desire to grow. So very much based on growth-oriented mindset. So hara hachibunme also means don't make everything perfect. That is good for controlling your ego. But also, there is another thing. Imperfection gives room for our bodies to naturally adjust. When you optimize everything externally, your body's natural adjusting ability may atrophy. What happens if you cannot use all those gadgets anymore for whatever the reason? Maybe they have a new model, but you cannot afford to buy the new model and whatever. Once you have lost that natural adjusting ability, you cannot get it back. So you'll be stuck. But if you have a natural adjusting abilities, then you can optimize your sleep regardless of the environment. Okay, so ancient Japanese martial arts sleep method. Now, I have talked about Dr. Hirai, who is an acupuncturist, and he's a practitioner of ancient Japanese martial art. He comes to our house once every 2 months to give treatment to people in our town. He does a lot of posture correction type of work as well. This is the sleeping method that he recommends. So basically, we put some kind of a stretching thing under your back to strengthen your back, just like that. So you kind of a back extension. And he recommends doing it throughout the night. But I don't do that entire night, just for the first 30 minutes or so. But it does condition my spine to be straight. And then you tie your legs so that you can keep this posture throughout the night. So you put your feet upright like this and then put them together next to each other. I only do this occasionally, not every night though. But for the back extension, I usually do it every night. And then you breathe through the nose. I mean, you should breathe through the nose throughout the day, but especially at night during your sleep, you want to be breathing through the nose, not through the mouth. So that is the sleeping method of an ancient Japanese martial art. Okay, so summary. You can use a futon on a futon platform bed. So if you don't have a tatami room, if you use a futon platform bed, then it is possible to use a futon in your regular flooring room. And then sleep for 8 hours, including between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. And morning and evening sunlight exposure, cold exposure in the morning, heat exposure at night. Don't eat 3 hours before bed and 1 hour after bed. And eat natto for breakfast and dinner. Avoid caffeine within the first hour of waking up and 8 to 10 hours before bed. Avoid alcohol. Not entirely. I usually don't drink during the week and I only drink on the weekend. So in this way, I can optimize my sleep during the week. No screen time 1 hour before and after sleep. Hara Hachibunme. Don't try to make everything perfect. Straighten your posture during your sleep and breathe through the nose. Okay, for the details of how to optimize your sleep, please read Live Wiser, Not Smarter. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Hachiaki Takamiya, the author of Live Wiser, Not Smarter. If you like this video, please give me your thumb up and subscribe to my channel. And please leave your comment. How do you sleep? What are the things you do to optimize your sleep? Now, I talked about Hara Hachibunme, how you do not want to make everything perfect. More in detail on that point, you can watch this video.